Imagine waking up in a locked, pitch-black safe room, completely disoriented and damaged. For the original 4 Freddy Fazbear animatronics, this is how they returned to consciousness: trapped, rusted, and obsolete. Almost immediately, the severity of their situation becomes clear. Through the walls, they can hear an active restaurant operated by advanced replacement models, while learning that a fresh string of murders has just occurred right outside their door. They are entirely powerless. Locked inside this concrete box, the original crew is forced to listen to a new cycle of tragedy unfolding, without any physical means to intervene or escape. Inside the room, the situation turns from bleak to bizarre. Without any visible struggle or external attack, physical anomalies begin to manifest. Mangle wakes up to find their entire body dismantled and tangled in a heap of wires. The panic reaches its peak when Puppet, the historical protector of the group, suddenly screams in agony and collapses to the floor, passing out despite zero physical contact from anyone in the room. These spontaneous, violent breakdowns show the animatronics are dealing with a force that bypasses physical walls to manipulate their robotic bodies from a distance. To understand this remote manipulation, we have to look closely at what caused Puppet's sudden collapse on the safe room floor. This split-screen diagram maps physical symbiosis. Glowing vector lines indicate points on this plush doll are bound directly to Puppet's mechanical nervous system. This is a devastating exploit. Physical trauma inflicted on the plushie instantly transfers as a severe injury to the animatronic. But this remote control over the old models raises a question about the restaurant floor. What exactly is animating these brand new replacement models? This introduces the second mechanic, the cycle of souls. The children who were recently murdered outside the safe room have had their souls actively bound to the hardware of the new, advanced animatronics. The original cast is looking at a new generation of victims trapped within the exact same supernatural system of exploitation. The architect behind this violence eventually reveals himself. A shadowy, dark entity manifests, taking credit for orchestrating the historical trauma at Freddy Fazbear's. This entity operates using mind hijacking, a mechanic that shifts the blame for the restaurant's darkest chapters away from Spring Bonnie. The entity enveloped Spring Bonnie, splitting his internal power source to claim exactly half of the energy for itself. This hijack stripped Spring Bonnie of his autonomy. The dark entity used his mechanical body as a vessel, forcing his hands to commit the murders against his will. Learning this is devastating for Spring Bonnie. He has to process the realization that his own body was weaponized to hunt down and destroy his own friends and family. A singular parasitic puppeteer engineered the entire timeline of violence by exploiting these spiritual vulnerabilities. Armed with the truth about who is actually pulling the strings, the different generations of animatronics immediately stop their infighting. They realize the same supernatural links used to drain them can be used to send a signal back to the source. To execute this counterhack, Fredbear and the most of the surviving cast physically join hands, forming a closed spiritual circuit among themselves. By linking up, they pull their individual spiritual energy, funneling their distinct souls into one overwhelming force. This concentrated surge of unified energy overloads the dark entity. The spike in power destroys the supernatural control system and burns out the parasite's influence. The final victory shows that hardware matters less than understanding the system and uniting to sever the puppeteer's strings.